This week on ACTV News. ACTV covers this year's Latino Festival with our very first Spanish segment. Brianna LaRusso hosts this week's Question of the Week, where she asks students about the fall season. Sports reporter Danielle Rassicott caught up with members from the Assumption College football and women's soccer teams. ACTV News starts right now.
Welcome to ACTV News. I'm Chris Van Camp.
And I'm Kylie Thomas. For this week's Professor Highlight, ACTV took a look at Professor Brian Coleman from the accounting department.
Assumption has helped my journey as a professor because when you make a personal connection with the students, when you engage with them, when you have a conversation, small talk before class, all of these things create a better experience. One of the things I like to do in that first day activity where everybody introduces themselves and says something interesting about themselves, I start by saying something interesting about me, and I tell them that I have a food Instagram account. It's called 508 Feast. One of the things I learned is that students only go to 2 or 3 places off campus, and they just go to those places over and over again. So I kind of wanted to showcase, there are other things that you can try. One of the things we get to do in the Course Innovation Academy is actually look into the research of teaching and learning and look at theory that talks about what makes a better experience, what creates deeper learning for students.
The trend in all Professor Coleman's classes that it's not just about jumping to the answer with things, that you have to go through the process even if it's a little longer than what you just want to do and just jump to the end. Professor Coleman's big on doing things out and working it out together and kind of talking about it as you go, because then you learn more.
I think inspires me every day to come in and teach is, one, I love to see that light bulb moment, in the classroom when students really connect with something and they realize that they learned something useful and meaningful and that they're going to carry it with them. You now know more people and you see people around campus, you see students around campus and you're saying hi and you see them at sporting events. You get to interact with them and you know that you made some kind of a positive impact on your lives. That for me, that's really rewarding.
The season of fall has begun and students are more than excited. For this week's Question of the Week, our own Brianna LaRusso asked students about the beloved season.
I'm here at Charlie's asking students what their favorite fall activity or favorite thing about fall is for this week's Question of the Week. What's your favorite fall activity?
I love eating anything pumpkin. I love the fall foods, so yeah.
Apple picking, pumpkin picking, trick-or-treating, even though we can't do that anymore.
Probably just going to football games, Assumption games, Patriots games if I can, and just enjoying it all.
I love carving pumpkins.
Definitely apple picking.
My favorite fall activity is jumping into a pile of leaves.
So fun!
My favorite fall activity is Halloween, so the second the leaves turn, I head to Target and buy my Halloween decorations.
What's your favorite fall activity?
Well, I like going apple picking because I'm a big fan of apples and apple cider.
One of my favorite fall activities is tailgating. It's something my family does all the time, so it's fun to go out on the weekends and sit in a parking lot for a little while and get ready for a game and then, just hanging out with the fam for most of the time.
Pats games?
Of course.
What's your favorite thing about fall?
I really like the weather in fall because, like to be all cozy in a nice sweater, like big blanket-like sweater. It's nice.
I really like the cold weather.
I love raking the leaves and then playing in them with my dog. He loves running through it.
I'm Brianna LaRusso, ACTV News.
For this first time in our history, ACTV is airing a segment completely spoken in Spanish. Let's turn to our own Kara Stubinsky, who attended this year's Latino Festival.
Estoy aquí en el Festival Latino para el primer segmento español de ACTV, donde estoy hablando con estudiantes sobre la importancia de la diversidad entre los estudiantes universitarios.
Pienso que la diversidad es importante, así para que muchas diferentes culturas puedan venir y se puedan reunir, y es importante así para que todo el mundo pueda ser amigos.
Este tipo de eventos es importante en la universidad para que las personas aprendan de los distintos países que hay en Latinoamérica y cómo comprender la sociedad que está alrededor de ellos también, porque vivimos en Estados Unidos, pero aquí hay muchos inmigrantes de diferentes partes del mundo. Hoy nos enfocamos en Latinoamérica, pero mañana nos podemos enfocar en Europa o en Asia o en África, en distintos continentes. Y es un placer poder hablar y conocer de otras culturas.
Yo creo que la diversidad es algo sumamente importante en las universidades y en los colegios, simplemente porque abre una nueva perspectiva hacia la vida y cómo otros miran. Algo tan simple como un saludo se hace diferente en diferentes estados y en diferentes continentes, donde sea, como que los hispanos, nosotros, es un poquito más personal cuando uno saluda a una persona, y entonces pues cosas así simples yo pienso que son importantes aprender.
Los eventos están importantes porque reflejan la persona que está aquí, cómo se parecen, el lenguaje, la cultura, y es muy importante por la escuela o el colegio también porque va a ayudar a los estudiantes que van a venir, que son de diferente cultura y lenguaje.
Yo creo que es importante que haya diversidad en la universidad, porque aparte de uno educarse intelectualmente, hay que también educarse socialmente, y uno solo puede hacer eso si tiene mucha variedad de personas alrededor.
Pienso que este evento es importante, por lo menos para mí, para mostrar lo orgulloso que uno está de su país y mostrar todo lo que puede brindar ese país. Por ejemplo, Puerto Rico, aquí uno puede mostrar la comida, la cultura, todos los problemas por los que hemos pasado y hemos superado, y para mostrar que somos buenas personas.
Es importante porque que muestra las diferentes culturas de la escuela, y todos los estudiantes pueden participar.
Es importante tener diversidad aquí en la universidad para introducirlos en un ambiente diverso, así cuando van al mundo ya saben cómo comunicarse con otra gente y no solamente con el ambiente aquí.
Diversidad es bien importante en estos tiempos, más porque en el tiempo político que estamos queremos sentirnos a casa, y ser orgullosos de donde somos es algo que nos da confianza y nos da orgullo para nuestras familias.
Kara Sabrinsky, ACTV News.
Speaking of Hispanic culture, Aaron Keenan got the chance to speak to Jean Manuel Martinez, a recent graduate of Assumption, about how the college prepared him for the working world.
Chris, according to the U.S. Department of Education, over 3 million Hispanic students are currently enrolled in an undergraduate education program. Assumption College is just one of the many schools that these students choose to go to with the hope of furthering their education beyond the classroom. John Manuel Martinez was raised in the Dominican Republic. The recent Assumption graduate now works in the Community Relations Department with the Pawtucket Red Sox.
I started off as a raffle ticket seller, selling 50-50 raffle tickets at Fenwick Park on behalf of the Red Sox Foundation. I thought my first day at the job I was going to get fired. You know, I literally came back with $145 worth, and the expectation was above $700.
Martinez was able to move up within the Red Sox organization, eventually organizing the initiative Osis Polaris, a program that helps raise awareness about different Hispanic and Latin American cultures.
Our purpose was to diversify our fan base. It raises awareness of the Latino cultures, and it's not lumped up into all. You know, just because we're in Latin America, we're lumped into one. And also, while doing that, you know, enjoying a game of baseball, you know, America's pastime.
Professor of Sports Marketing Libby O'Hara says Martinez was not always the go-getter he appears to be.
So he came to see me one day, and when he came into my office, he was looking down and he was really shy and he wouldn't talk to me. So I told him, look me in the eye, shake my hand hard. And he all of a sudden opened up and he started talking about becoming an employee of a professional baseball team, maybe someday a general manager.
O'Hara believes his work ethic is what helped Martinez move up in the organization.
He experienced all sorts of discrimination, and one guy went up to him one day and said, I don't want to buy tickets from a Puerto Rican, I want a white guy. And so I used to say to John Manuel, what do you do, like when that happens? And John Manuel said, well, I decided at that moment I'm not going to let someone who's ignorant ruin my career.
You got to do you. You know, there's a lot of adversities that people go through. You just can't let yourself go down or, you know, anything. And I know it's a cliche and everything, but I feel that's true.
Martinez hopes that students like himself will take advantage of the multiple opportunities Assumption has to offer. I'm Erin Keating, ACTV News.
This year, a beloved Assumption tradition is going under some reconstruction. Our own John McCormick spoke to Vice President for Student Affairs, Colin McQuillan, about the new plans for this year's Midnight Madness, along with student reaction.
This week on ACTV News, I sat down with Vice President of Student Affairs, Colin McQuillan, to discuss this year's changes to Midnight Madness. After much discussion with SGA, administration, and athletics, McQuillan decided to move the Assumption tradition of Midnight Madness. In place of the beloved tradition, McQuillan and SGA have planned the new Bleed Blue event.
It's going to be outside on the Hagen lawn from 6 to 8 p.m. We're calling it the Bleed Blue event. For school spirit, you know, we figured no better weekend than homecoming weekend to kind of promote school spirit.
McQuillan understands the frustration felt among students and athletes.
That's something I foresaw happening. I think as time's gone on, it's gotten a little bit better and people are more understanding of, you know, our decision, why we made it, and the new event and the situation itself.
I feel like it's something that students look forward to, and I feel like them getting rid of it or changing it to, you know, whatever it is now, it just kind of takes away the value and how much we appreciate our basketball team.
It was one of my favorite events here on campus, and the fact that we don't have it is really upsetting. It'll be interesting to see what Spirit Day is like, but we'll never replace Midnight Madness.
Steps have been taken by SGA to ease the transition to this new event.
We're going to be inviting all 24 sports teams to come to this event and get recognized. We're going to have food, a DJ, you know, games going on, some sort of competitions, and just fun stuff that, you know, athletes and the student body can enjoy. So I think it'll be a great event. You know, we're going to speak about each team and recognize them for their accomplishments over the past year. So
McQuillan says that it is important for students to use their voice in situations like this, and that the school can look forward to a new and better tradition to come. I'm John McCormick, ACTV News.
Sports correspondent Danielle Rascott joins us now for this week's sports update.
Thanks, Chris. For this week's ACTV Sports, we decided to focus on the new coaching staff for women's soccer and men's football. Last year, Coach Grace Bernard joined the women's soccer team as head coach. I spoke with Callie Villamore and Victoria Stoll about the transition of the two coaches within the last 2 seasons.
Our new coach is a lot more compassionate. She cares about our bodies and recovery, which is really important, especially when we have 2 to 3 games a week. She allows us to choose our style of soccer and play the way we want, and we're a lot more creative, and it just flows better.
She wants us to be good overall people. She definitely has a lot more compassion. It's a much more welcoming team. We support each other. She focuses on being a good person rather than just being a good soccer player.
The team feels they have molded themselves in a positive environment with their coach.
I think we molded really well, seeing we made it to semifinals last year in the conference. I'd say that's a pretty good first year for her, and this year we've had a little bit of a rough patch, but we're coming out of it now, so I think we'll do pretty well at the end.
It's much more welcoming team environment, so we get along much better. We're not kind of being pit against each other. We're all just like rooting for each other, so I think that's definitely been a positive with her coming in.
This season, the football team has a new head coach, Annie McKenzie. ACTV spoke with Cody Williams and Joe Kim about the positive impact Coach McKenzie has brought to the team.
He did a good job of coming in, letting us do our thing, but also putting his piece onto this program.
He's a little quieter, and he's always calm and he's confident, and we love that about him. He never gets rattled. He believes we can always make something happen with our next play, and I love it.
With a 5-1 record, the players feel Coach McKenzie prepares them each week to be successful.
Coach McKenzie does a really good job of just preparing us every week, and on Saturday, we know what we're doing.
Coach McKenzie is one of the smartest football coaches I've ever met in my entire life, and he puts us in the best position possible every single week to try to win these football games, and I couldn't be more happy with that guy.
The players feel comfortable enough to talk to their new coach about anything from football to everyday life.
You know, we could always go into the coach's office and talk to them about anything, even if it's unrelated to football, if it's school, whether it be our family. I think we just have a really good relationship of just being straightforward with them and having a good relationship.
Every time you go into his office to talk to him, he's always saying, I'm listening, I'm listening. He always wants to hear from us. You know, he's very active in our everyday life. It's a blessing to be a part of this journey with him.
ACTV wants to welcome these new head coaches to Assumption College. I'm Danielle Rascott, ACTV News.
That's it for us here at ACTV News. ACTV meets Tuesdays at 5 at D. Pasquale Media Center.
Make sure to follow ACTV_news on Twitter and Instagram, and send us your ideas and comments. I'm Kylie Thomas.
And I'm Chris Van Camp. Thanks for watching. Speaking of...
I personally think diversity is important. Oh, you want to do it in Spanish?
We decided to focus on women's...
Let's turn to our own Kara Stabinski, who attended this year's Latino Festival. There's a bug in here.
Yeah, it's a...
Even if it's unrelated to football, if it's school, whether it be our family.
I just absolutely love apple picking. It's such a great activity. So much fun to do with the girlfriend. Big girlfriend guy. It's a blast. But I also love pumpkin spice flavored everything. Pumpkin spice lattes. Oh, can't wait. Fall, you can't come any quicker.